I personally object to the teaching of rock music. It is barbaric and degrading. Music education has a close connection with moral attitudes. Pop encourages the notion of a quick fix to every problem, emotional, political, cultural. Rock music has one appeal only, a barbaric appeal to sexual desire, not love, not eros, but sexual desire undeveloped and untutored. Young people know that rock has a beat of sexual intercourse. Rock has always been the devil's music. I believe rock and roll is dangerous. I feel we're only heralding something even darker than ourselves. Rock and roll doesn't glorify God. You can't drink out of God's cup and the devil's cup at the same time. I was one of the pioneers of that music, one of the builders. I know what the blocks are made of because I built them. My true belief about rock and roll, and there have been a lot of phrases attributed to me over the years, is this. I believe this kind of music is demonic. A lot of the beats in music today are taken from voodoo, from the voodoo drums. If you study music in rhythms like I have, you'll see that is true. I believe that kind of music is driving people from Christ. It is contagious. In its heyday, rock and roll was the expression of an instinctive revolt against the adult world, against the rigid moral code of a block society. Later, the punks who made a point of being nihilists thumbed their noses at anything foreign to them by means of systematic provocation. Disco had made the crowds indifferent. They follow like a flock of sheep, asked no questions and have no message to convey. They just danced, hypnotised by disco standardised 125 beats per minute. As American journalists put it, they should put up a statue of Narcissus, the presiding deity, in front of every disco. In all of these new depersonalised ready-made disco supermarkets, the continuous repetitious beat monotonously booms away like a war drum. But war against what? They say it's against boredom. However, in the long run, the ordeal of a monotonous music, more flashy than brilliant, full of twitches and tricks, makes you question the efficiency of a remedy. Rock and roll is detrimental to the hearing of the youngsters who go to it. It is not, in my estimation, music, just noise. To a lot of people, punk and heavy metal is a fad, here today and gone tomorrow. For some kids that's true. For other kids it becomes a way of life that changes their value systems and beliefs. My only deep sorrow is the unrelenting insistence of recording and motion picture companies upon purveying the most brutally degenerate, vicious form of expression it has been my displeasure to hear. Naturally, I refer to the bulk of rock and roll. It fosters almost totally negative and destructive reactions in young people. It smells phony and false. It is sung, played and written for the most part by cretinous goons, and by means of its almost imbecilic reiterations and sly, lewd, in plain fact dirty lyrics. And as I said before, it manages to be the martial music of every signbird delinquent on the face of the earth. Who said all these things? Who? Various people actually. The quotations I've just read were made by various people who have connections with either the radio or the music industry. And if you look in the description below, you'll find out who it was who made who said each quotation. So, what would you say? Would you agree with their opinions? Well, this is part two of a discussion on music. In parts 3 and 4 of the discussion, I will go into more detail. Details on the subject of music. Is all modern music bad? Is some of it good? Well, after you've watched parts 3 and 4, you'll have the tools to decide for yourself. Anyway, read in the descriptions below who made all these comments.